And then it's just sequel after sequel after sequel.
There was no character development at all.
Just that on pure technical levels.
There are filmmakers that don't want it just to be an entertainment experience.
Hello and welcome to Media Academy Online. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Dana.
And today we're going to talk about Mr. JC, the James Cameron.
Again, one of the big moguls of the industry. We're going to talk about, I say big mogul, but he hardly makes any film.
It's funny that someone can have such a small filmography but still have such a big legacy.
Yeah, and such big power within the industry as well. Like, he can do anything he wants now.
From just an effects man.
And he was an underdog, really, when he started out. No one believed in him. And
Which is a usual case, really.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Proved himself very quickly.
Starting off with his first foray into directing, Piranha 2. Flying Killers.
Who would have thought? He got fired off this, didn't he?
Yeah.
Roger Corman. A lot of famous people got their start with good old Roger Corman.
I guess he was fresh, but he had passion and he had a dream. I guess he came on set, was a bit arrogant though. I remember early on, he was a very arrogant person, and over the years he sort of learned a bit more and learned to be a bit more laid back. Yeah, so Piranha 2, I mean, it's not something that I've seen. Have you seen Piranha 2?
I've seen bits of it
Yeah.
a long time ago.
But yeah, I guess that was his first beginnings of experiencing film storytelling, which was not a good one, I suppose.
Yeah,
in the end.
he got fired, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
Probably
well,
just 'cause
from what I heard, it was a bit too much on set.
Telling people what to do and
Yeah,
stuff.
but I could be wrong.
Micromanaging.
Yeah,
everyone.
so I heard he had a bit of a temper early on in his career.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. He's a hard worker. Like, he'll work you hard.
Yeah.
That's from one thing I know. That is one thing that's been consistent.
Yeah.
Like, from Bill Paxton interviews and stuff. Like, they always say, like, you're either with him or you're not.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a lot of, like, there's a lot of leaders like that. You know, Steve Jobs was like that.
Yeah.
Bill Gates was like that.
Okay.
I guess that's a leader thing.
Yeah. It's almost like there's no fucking around.
Yeah, you
No
have
messing
to
about.
be shooting on all cylinders. You have to be up on par with their
What they expect.
their standard. What they expect.
Yeah. And more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have all the bases covered and more. Even and take the rap for all the mistakes.
Yep.
And you'd be like, yeah, okay, I'll fix it, James. Yeah.
But I guess that was a short-lived, that film, for him. But then his next idea, which was a dream he had.
Yeah. He was overseas somewhere. I think
he was
in
overseas,
Venice or something like that.
And he had a nightmare, and he actually
fever
saw.
dream.
He was like, he was right. He got sick, and during his sickness, he saw like the fire, and he saw the head coming through the fire.
The emergence of the skeletal.
Yeah.
Robot.
Which is of Terminator, which we're talking about Terminator, which was his idea that he had, and he saw just
that visual. That
the visual.
Which is funny because I think he had that visual, but the rest of the story has been taken from other things.
That's typical of
which is
just
normal.
anything.
I mean,
that's right.
That's how art works.
Yeah.
And I haven't really sourced or chased or found evidence of this, of him actually saying, I've utilized these ideas from the past.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of other videos, YouTube videos and stuff like that have explained that there was a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
Or, there was a black and white movie. There was a script that was written about a time traveler going back and, all these ideas.
Lots of cues taken from other things.
Yeah. So whether or not he did, doesn't matter because he's the one that came out with the idea.
That's right.
And
it's a story that took off. It was a solid idea, simple enough.
But then you put a man of muscle at the forefront of that.
Yeah.
And you've got a winning package,
that's right.
don't you?
Yeah, big thing at the time. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
The thing was, he was an established bodybuilder.
Yeah.
But for him to cross over into acting, he was still on that untested ground because he'd done.
He was a known figure, but he wasn't known for
acting and performing, and he was getting a lot of flack for his accent and all that, and his performances in Conan, the Barbarian.
Yeah.
And The Destroyer, and obviously his first film, Hercules in New York.
Yeah.
He was getting, I love Conan the Barbarian. I think he works well in that because he has barely any dialogue.
Yeah.
And that's for a reason.
But when you think about Arnie, you don't think about his amazing acting. That's not what he's for. But he's got an iconic style
and a presence. Yeah.
He's got a presence, and he's got that's right. You just see him when he's performing,
especially at that time.
You just accept it. Yeah.
Yeah. In the 80s, he was just the figure, the man.
And he was doing a lot of styles. Like my favorite Christmas film of all time,
Jingle
All the Way.
Yeah,
it was just great, and his chase after the
I love that when it comes
trying to get the toy, and it was just
I think we were the perfect age. That was our generation, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it came at the perfect time. But yeah, I mean, the first Terminator. This is a film for me that has gotten better as time has gone on.
Yeah,
I mean, I appreciated it as a kid, but I'd always turn to T2. Yeah. Mind you, I was born in 1988. By the time I was old enough to watch T2, you know what I mean? It was already established. But yeah, Terminator 1, always coming back to that one. But before I get into any of it, I've got this experience of when I was really young. I think I must have been about 3 years old. And it's one of the first memories I've got to this day. It's like when people say, oh, can you remember when you were a baby? Or can you remember... What's the furthest back you can remember in your life? This is one memory I've always got. Yeah. And it is from peering... I think I must have been playing toys or something on the ground and peering over the couch and seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger ripping out his eye, with the scalpel and stuff, and doing that surgery on himself. And that has stuck with me till this day as a memory.
Yeah.
And it freaked the shit out of me, but it was so fascinating at the same time. I don't even know how I took it. I can't remember that. I just remember seeing it and affecting me in some way. And the puppet of Arnie, because it's not his actual him doing it. It's the puppet and just the jerkiness of it kind of freaked me out a bit. But yeah, that's one of my earliest memories. Weird.
Wow.
Yeah. How strange is that,
Something that stuck with you.
Yeah. And I always look back at this film as actually kind of scary because I think that's kind of intertwined into my psyche when I think about the film. And every time I rewatch it, from later in life till now, I at least watch this movie once a year.
Yeah.
And it just, I love it. I don't need to praise it because it's got enough praise as it is, but just the analogness of it and the low budget side of it and the guerrilla filmmaking
all the warts of it.
Yeah. I love every aspect of it. And it's very brutal too.
Yeah.
It's so brutal. Like he'll just go around and he's shooting the other Sarahs and... the guy that sells him the gun and, or the gun store guy, just blasts him away. Because he come to T2 and he's a good guy and you don't get that again. So this is a one-off kind of Terminator where he's actually terminating. The rest of the Terminator films don't do that as much.
Yeah.
Apart from the Liquid Metal Man. But this is brutal. It's actually has that kind of aesthetic of like a slasher film. It's almost like a slasher film. That kind of low budgetness of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's got that very effects side to it as well, like when you see the visions of the future.
Yeah.
So well done with all the, all the different effects and stuff.
Yeah, the effects were great.
Wow.
That early on, even back then, he was experimenting with any effect possible. And this is before visual effects, or before computer animation and all that, CGI. Yeah. It's all... and it was all done practical, and some of it works, some of it doesn't, but he's just trying, puppetry,
models,
stop motion models, animatronics, the whole lot.
Compositing and using rear projection and all these sorts of things. And even the lightning when they're teleporting or going back in time, and they got that effect when they, all that stuff is just so bloody cool. And I think this is Stan Winston's kind of first major movie as well.
Would have been,
yeah. So there you go, another figurehead in Hollywood.
That just started his career, and that really got him on the map as a director.
Yeah, like what a strong first film.
Yeah. And then he moved on to Aliens.
Talk about the 1-2 punch. It's just like, okay, so you've created one franchise and then you've reinvigorated another franchise.
That's it.
It's almost an impossible task.
Yeah.
To come up with a sequel that almost tops the first one.
Yeah.
In many ways it does.
And
in many ways.
That's one thing, say what you want about James Cameron, but he's a franchise guy and he's able to do it
King of the franchise.
Easily.
So when's Titanic 2 coming out? This is another film, childhood film.
Back then, we were making all these films that just got into your psyche and just
they kind of
the vision was just
so strong.
So strong.
Yeah.
It sticks there. The art design, the direction of it is just spot on.
Just the idea of creating a Vietnam movie in space, mixing that war film idea with the alien, the xenomorph idea from the first Alien, which is so creepy in the first film, but then you sort of bring it into this one and create this blockbuster event, changing the kind of DNA of the first Alien film to create this new hybrid film. Works perfectly, and it has never worked since, on that level.
Yeah.
They can't praise it enough as well, These are just amazing stuff.
Like, I think back to it, I just remember those sets. So detailed.
Oh, yeah.
So spot on.
And the what do you call it?
The mech suit kind of thing.
Yeah. Get away from her, you bitch.
Yeah. Those just iconic moments.
All the guns in it, the pulse rifles, the big ones.
Yeah.
And, you got the flamethrowers, you got Bishop, you've got, him getting fucked up at the end.
And the aliens themselves, they just look so great. And
they did.
Yeah. There's all like puppetry and stuff, but they just looked so spot on. They did. So amazing.
Yeah. It's like they almost, like, because the first Alien in that film looks so good, but it didn't quite move. It didn't have the agility, so they couldn't really make it move as well. But in the second one, they kind of figure out ways to make it move a bit more actiony. And it works. And then you got the Queen.
And the lighting, spot on.
Yeah,
they just show just enough of the alien to scare the fruit out of you.
I think that was the best thing about these films, it's because they didn't show much.
Yeah.
They really didn't.
Again, it's an exercise of restraint. It's about hiding things from you.
Yeah.
It's not about shoving it in your face. It's
like
great.
These days, if they did this kind of film, it'd be like a full-on war. Like you'd have Marines and a whole army of aliens.
You'd
and
see just heaps of these aliens
swarming.
just
sort of like Alien versus Predator.
Up in your face.
Until you're bored and numb and falling asleep.
It's like, all right, hurry up and finish this fight. I'm over it.
Yeah.
Moving on, I guess The Abyss was his next big one. Underwater one.
Yeah.
Which is great.
The documentary for this, if you haven't seen the documentary for this and you want to know more about what James Cameron's like, this is the perfect documentary.
It's great.
Because, oh my God. The challenges that he enforced to get an underwater film made underwater, astronomical. It's like going into space and filming a movie up there. And you're putting actors underwater.
It's a tough thing to ask.
And not only that, you had Ed Harris having to have his helmet filled up with water and then put underwater.
Yep.
So he was like double underwater, and he nearly drowned.
Yeah.
Few of the actors nearly drowned. There's so many things going wrong in that movie.
It's something that could only been done then. Try and do it these days. No way.
No.
No way.
I'll wait chest and a half.
You'll have all your agents up.
Oh, man.
Crazy.
The fees you'd be asking for, you'd be like, oh my God.
And the other thing that The Abyss is known for was, I guess, James Cameron's first experience with CGI.
Yeah.
With the
liquid metal man effect, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know what you call it, the big
shiny thing.
Water face thing.
The water tendril. It's like but that's kind of looks exactly the same as the liquid metal man.
It's the same technology. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just like, I want this water creature. Let's do it. All right, then what do we do next to make it look like liquid metal? Well, and that brings us to the next film, Terminator, where we had the liquid metal
Judgment Day.
Yeah, which was used very well in that film. We had used on only certain points, but with the points that did use it,
very effective.
Very effective.
Yeah. When I was a kid watching this, or even through the 90s, watching this, it was almost like the most professional handling of that technique or that, because he had all these other films come out after that with CGI. Apart from Jurassic Park, T2 was the only other one at that time, for a few years there, that just was like the highest standard.
We had some just really terrible almost coming out back then. But like, I just remember, like, the shot that I remember from this film was just like the one where you're looking at the floor, and then he sort of merges out of the floor, but the floor looked so realistic, and then the whole thing just worked so well.
And the other one with him going through the bars.
Yeah, the bar one is great.
Yeah.
And that was made up, really clever too, where you had sort of a mix of like different techniques to do that.
And then he gets the
really
gun
great.
cord as he's coming through.
Yeah.
Just those little details really
Yeah.
make it feel real. And also the part when he's in the helicopter and he's like oozes into it or whatnot. Talk about upping his game for the next film, and then doing a flip on that with Arnie and making him the hero, you know, which Arnie was against, you know, apparently at the start. He was like, no, I don't want to be, you know, that character shouldn't be a good guy. It kind of shits on the first film. But JC, man of good ideas. He knows how to do a sequel.
Like, you think about which is probably the most successful, the most iconic Terminator film. It's definitely that second one, clearly.
Hands down. And he's created so many strong, like, heroic characters. You know, you've had, you know, from Michael Biehn in the first Terminator, who plays Kyle Reese, to Sarah Connor, played by Linda Hamilton, you know, to Arnold Schwarzenegger himself, to, you know, every one of his characters. You know, Ed Harris, you know, you've got so many, all his actors, his main actors that he always uses in his films tend to be a strong character, and they're very, I don't know, they're very solid characters.
Yeah, and the other thing that he's really good at is strong female leads. Yeah. It was kind of rare to see.
It's almost token, even today, you know, when it's almost like, it doesn't feel as legit.
Formulaic almost. In all his films, he's come up with these strong characters that just happened to be female. It wasn't about, you know, a female has to be this or trying to divide sexes. He just has a character that's a strong character that happen, you know.
It's like you remove sex or sexual orientation. You know, it doesn't matter if it's male or female. You take that away if you just write a strong character.
That's right. Strong people. Full stop.
And I mean, but then he goes one step further than that, and then builds on the feminine side, you know, because he got the motherhood thing in Aliens, in both of them, with Sarah Connor and John Connor. Yep. You know, this motherhood idea and how he tackles those with Linda Hamilton and Sigourney Weaver. And
amazing.
Yeah.
He just understands characters so well.
Especially at that time.
Yeah. And I guess moving on from Terminator.
True Lies, his third foray into Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnie's back.
Yep, the team up. And Arnie had, I think at this time, the option of doing Predator 2 or this. Or it might have been Last Action Hero. I think it was Anyway, Arnie chose to do this with JC at this time. And what a great duo. Because this is like... It's a remake of another film, a French film, but it's just done in such a cool, zippy way.
It's very classy too. And it's got like the action, it's got the romance,
in the comedy.
Yeah.
So it's balancing those three main sort of, you know, those parts, and it does it very well. And you got Jamie Lee Curtis, you know, starts off as a weak character, but by the end, these are all good characters. And you got Bill Paxton again. He uses Bill Paxton a lot. You know, Aliens. He was in Terminator. Now he's in True Lies. You know, so he's got a good little crew that he's always working with.
And by this stage, he's like really shooting out solid works of art. Like,
yeah.
He's really getting known by the general public.
And it's funny because like True Lies is an action-y film. Like it's not deep really.
No.
But it is just so well done. You know, it's just awesome.
To move on from this point, like, he's really known for like those action, those sci-fi. That was his
bag.
And that's what he was sort of getting typecasted for. He's known for those big epic sci-fi action films.
Guns.
Yeah, it's all about that. Which then prompted him to say, hang on a minute, I'm going to do something completely different. Where this idea, like, he got an invitation in the mail about Titanic. They had some sort of Titanic event, and that's where that got put in his radar.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Well, that's where it started. And then...
this is when I started turning on James Cameron, to be honest.
And this is where the industry started turning on him, because everyone said this was going to be the biggest flop ever.
Yeah.
And no one wanted to support him in this.
Right.
And the studios didn't want to support him in it. Everyone was against him creating Titanic.
Wow.
Because he was typecast.
Yeah.
He said, no, he can't do this. You're the action guy. You're not the drama guy. You can't do drama.
Yeah.
And no one wants to see a drama set on a ship where everyone dies.
Yeah.
We already know the ending. We're not interested. That's kind of the way they were looking at it.
Like from the outside in, when you're hearing or looking at that,
and
alarms are ringing.
When he was producing the film, like, he kept going over budget, and the studios were saying no more money, and I told this story early on in one of the other podcasts where he actually said to them, he said, look, I'm willing to take away my royalties because I know, like, you know, I've asked a lot of you and I've spent all your money and I'm willing to take away my royalties from this film because I believe in the film so much. And they were said, no, we're not going to take those royalties because we don't think this film is going to make any money. So you can keep those royalties, but we'll take the royalties of your next film. And he told them to fuck off.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, he
What
said no,
next
fuck
film?
off. Well, that's the thing. I guess they assumed he was going to do another golden
Space.
one and they wanted to take his money from that. So he said fuck off. So he kept his royalties to the film that then
went on to become
the highest grossing film of all time, Titanic, which came out of nowhere. And that's the thing. You get told these stories, what he's doing, and everyone's like, what? You're crazy. It's not going to work. And you're just nuts. And then he just comes out with a film like Titanic that takes the world by storm. Every female in the world wanted to watch this film, you know?
And fall in love with Leo.
They just wanted Leo.
They want to be on the front of the boat doing that thing, listening to Celine Dion and
that song was huge.
Yeah.
And it's just a whole...
It just became
everything.
instant pop culture thing. And this is when I was like, I hate Leonardo DiCaprio and I hate romance movies. But like, I saw it at the cinema too.
They had the action element in it, though. There was a little bit of action, and it was like, it was the whole... The guys were watching it to seeing everyone die, and the females were watching it to see Leo and the romance.
It was good. It was a good film.
It was very
well
good.
balanced.
It's just one of those films where right time,
right actors,
right story, right actors, right everything. Even though yes, it went over time, and they actually built part of the ship to film on. Like, which is sort of great to see. And again, this is another film that used a lot of different techniques.
Models,
like they used
CGI,
miniature models where they'd for some of those scenes where you had the water rushing through the ship.
You wouldn't even notice half the time.
And it's like small things. Like I remember one of the shots in it where you got the water rushing through one of the corridors, and they said it just isn't working. It isn't looking right. And then one of the guys just tilted the shot a little bit, and all of a sudden it worked. Just the tilting of that shot make everything feel a bit more realistic. You know? And it makes sense because the whole ship is tilting. So just small things like that.
So cool. I think I was just like in that age or that time where I was just like, I just want James to make more.
Yeah, and when that's typical, that's a typical, you know,
I wanted to pigeonhole him, you know. I was like, no.
Yeah.
What are you doing this for? Give me some more Terminators and aliens.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm glad he didn't.
And yeah, well, I mean, Titanic stuck with me because it's something that I kept coming back to when I was studying film in like high school and stuff because it's something that would get benchmarked. It's
film,
this is one of those films you can learn so much from it because there's so many things to learn from the film. Like it's got the storytelling elements of it, like the first 1.5 acts is all story, and then the whole the last act and a bit or however long it is all different action, different techniques. There's so much to learn from it.
Yeah.
And so I kept coming back to it. So that's kind of where I kind of stand with the film, is that it is something that did help me with my education process over the years growing up.
I mean, when you think about it, it is probably one of the best disaster films ever made. Like, you had all those other disaster films come out and ones after that. Yeah. Titanic's still the one that is light years above all the others. Like... The rest is shit. You know, you got Poseidon Adventure, you got, all these other ones.
Even today, like, we've got films and the excuses to have action. Yeah, San Andreas, terrible.
I haven't even bothered with it.
No, I can't.
Like anything like that. You got all the Roland Emmerich ones.
2012, they're all just like the same.
Yeah. Formulaic.
We need an excuse to have some characters so that they can go through action. Yeah. And that's all it is. It's just the typical family. Big Hollywood man in it, female on the side.
Lots of CGI.
CGI. The children we have to fight for. And it's just throws in the same points.
I can't watch any more of those films, I think.
Yeah.
Like, what was the last one that came out? Was it 2012?
Rampage. That was the last one I can think of, Rampage. All right. So moving on. And this is kind of where he disappeared. And everyone thought, he's
gone.
He's stuffed. Everyone said, he's disappeared.
The maestro's gone.
You know?
But he was underwater.
He'd moved on. He was financing, with all his Hollywood money that he stored up, he was financing underwater exploration. That was his new passion.
His expeditions.
And Australia had a big part to play with that because a lot of the people who were involved with that expedition they were all from Australia.
Oh, okay.
He was building new underwater technology, and he produced a few documentaries around that.
Yep.
Which is all good, you know. And he explored the Titanic a bit more and created a few Titanic documentaries, and so he was busy there. And everyone, but in terms of Hollywood, everyone thought he'd disappeared. He was over. He was gone.
Yeah.
But little did we know, he had Avatar. He'd written years ago, I think even before Titanic, he'd written a script called Avatar.
Yeah.
And he actually, was experimenting with that film, and he even tried doing a non-CGI version of Avatar.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Early on, I remember there was an experience where he ran into someone he knew, where he was doing a few tests. People run around in blue paint as a test run, and he ran into someone he knew. He said, "Mate, you've really fallen hard now," because he's got him with a little camera running around with people in blue paint.
Yeah, right.
But little did we know he was experimenting and trying
homework. Yeah, I mean, he was through the 90s as well. After Titanic, I think he was supposed to do Spider-Man.
Really?
Yeah, he was supposed to do Spider-Man.
Wow. Well, probably would have. That would have been interesting.
And which ended up going to Sam Raimi. But he was one of there was that, and Battle Alita. He was going to direct that as well.
I reckon he would have been offered a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Would have been a list. But, it just appeared. And then Avatar came along, which came out of nowhere.
It was like,
I remember everyone thought when they saw the trailer of Avatar, they must have thought it was that Airbender version of it. They're like, this is a weird take on the Airbender, which had the same name, which I remember.
It was about the same time as well.
They had a TV show called Avatar, which was the whole Airbender story, and then the Airbender came out, which was a flop, which was terrible.
M. Night Shyamalan's.
Which was effectively, which was a whole story there about Avatar stealing the name. But Avatar, it definitely divided people, that film.
Yeah, I mean, it divided me.
Yeah. Because I watch it, I get caught up in it because it is so big and there's so much going on and the music's there and the scale's there, and I get all excited when I'm watching it. But then there's a part of me that says, well, I mean, it's not the deepest of films. Like, it's got elements of it that are sort of deep. But
like, it ain't as... This is the thing about, I guess, James Cameron, because when you actually look back at all his films, how deep are they, really?
Yeah.
Apart from Titanic, which is a true story. So, of course, that's...
Well, I mean, that's it.
That's a given. But then you got, like you think about T1 and T2...
They're all very Hollywood fluff.
Yeah, they're not very deep.
Good,
Yeah, even... I mean, all of his films aren't necessarily emotional.
But this is another one that even when he was creating it, the studios didn't believe in it. And like when they read the script of Avatar, they said you have to get rid of all this hippie tree hugger shit, I think they said. But he was big enough to just ignore him.
Yeah.
And then everyone was saying that it's like Fern Gully.
Yeah. That's exactly what I thought when I saw it.
And Pocahontas.
I was like, I was very divided because I was like, the story, I was like, yeah, okay. But then again, you got that Terminator thing again because he's utilising stuff that's already come out, but putting it in a package that's strong.
Yeah.
All right?
But
that sells.
I still like the film, and I'm one of those people that are for the film, and I'd support it any day. There's a lot of people that say it's the worst film, but I think that's Tall Poppy more than anything.
Yeah.
Which I think it got hard when it came out, and then give it like a year after that, everyone was like
against it,
and trying to poke at it. And I think it's more to do with the fact that it was so successful, and they had to be against it because it was so successful. I've always enjoyed it. I mean, I'm not going to say it's my most favourite film of all time, but it's definitely something that was really great. For a blockbuster, it's really good. And for 3D at the time, it's still probably the best 3D experience I've had. And I saw it at the cinema in 3D, and that was the way. It's the way to experience it. Yeah, you watch it at home, it's not the same. No. Yeah, and it was an experience. There's only ever been 2 films that have stood out with the 3D technology. One of them is Avatar, and the other one is Alice in Wonderland. Oh, okay. And they were the first 2 to really use it. Yeah. In that way to further the story. Any film after, gimmick.
It's a shame.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
It's hard to get you to forget the fact you're wearing the glasses, and that's the most difficult thing.
Avatar kind of worked because you were like,
Yeah.
it's like how it's like how that character sort of goes into the Avatar body. You kind of like get that with the glasses on.
Yeah,
You kind
and
of
it was so dreamlike anyway that you kind of feel like you're seeing it through different glasses, like a different lens.
That's how it felt. Yeah,
you were anyway.
Like narratively, it worked. And the only issue I really had with it was Sam Worthington.
Terrible acting.
Yeah,
It was shocking, and like he's Australian, but he really cannot do the American accent.
No, he should have just been an Aussie.
Yeah, no, he was like
which they wouldn't go for. I mean, he's not a bad actor. Like I've seen him in other stuff, which he's fine in. But then you go to the like Clash of the Titans and Avatars and all these big blockbuster American stuff.
Because I guess they try and bend him into a different kind of film.
Yeah,
like I've seen him in like some Australian stuff. He's really good at it. He's really good.
I prefer in this Avatar if it was in a perfect world. If it was an Aussie actor, I would have liked Joel Edgerton to be playing that role because for me he's just got the watchability and the depth. Whereas Sam Worthington, he's too like
feels almost a bit forced.
He's
acting.
I just can't get into him. But Zoe Saldana on the other hand,
she I mean she's done well in any franchise. Throw her in anything.
To be honest, if she was the main character, you know, that would have been.
But I guess that's what it is. And now,
how many sequels we got coming?
4. That's the thing. 5. 4 more coming.
And he's shooting back to back and everything.
Yeah, it's going to keep us busy until 2027. So
wow. I heard that one's going to be an underwater planet. In like all these different kind of settings.
Yeah.
I can't wait for him to get back underwater.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
It's going to be an experience. Like, and even now people are saying, nah, it's all going to flop. But I mean, the thing is, you can't
predetermine or... I'm telling you, he's going to be the counterbalance to all this other superhero shit.
No, definitely.
You know, he's going to be the one that comes out with the franchise that's going to offset.
He's a franchise king.
Think about what other franchise at the moment that is going as strong outside of superhero sort of stuff. Like you got Star Wars, but that's not going as well. You've got... You know, really, there's not that much on that scale. Star Trek,
in a world of fluff,
floundered. I think it's time. It's about time. When that next one comes out, when's it? 2021. I think it's going to be perfect.
It's all getting shot now, so...
Trailer's going to come out next year, and people are going to be so fucking hyped.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge.
And as James Cameron, he's going to have strong characters and strong story, and he's going to put at least some feels into it. It's not going to be all about excuse to show action, but the action is going to support a real meaning, which is great to see. And he's a supporter of like the environment and things like that.
And Amazon and stuff. Yeah.
And they're good messages that we need to be talking about in film, using film to reflect on society and real things instead of just action hero here, there, everywhere. It's about how can we use film and reach the masses, but also tell true meaningful stories within that and reflect on society.
I'm excited. I mean, plus Avatar 2, he seems to be able to do good with number 2s.
Yeah.
Let's not forget.
100% there's going to be people that hate it just because it is Avatar and it's James Cameron. So they're not going to give it the time of day.
But that's going to be such a minority in the end, I'm telling you now. He's going to make the first one even better with this next film.
And he's been saying he's working on some technologies that are going to blow us all away again. Don't know what they are.
Well, he's filming underwater, so imagine mocap underwater, you know.
There's going to be some... it's definitely... And people have, like, rumoured that there's going to be glassesless 3D and stuff like that. Whether that's a part of it, we'll see. I don't know.
Like
there's a lot of rumours.
Shit.
Yeah.
Or even fill up the cinema with water and we're all watching a movie underwater.
That'd be great.
I look forward to the future.
Looking up from here, and we'll see where to go from here.
Yeah.
I guess we'll finish up there. And make sure you follow us on all of our socials, YouTube, Instagram, subscribe. We've got new video content every week coming out on our YouTube channel.
Yep.
Other than that, I'll see you in the next one.
Yes. Adios.